In April of 1787, James Madison wrote, "Representative appointments are sought from three motives. 1, ambition. 2, personal interest. 3, public good." Why are you running for office?
Well, it's simple, public good. And I've got 30 years of background to back that up. I mean, I didn't go into business for personal wealth. I was driven by a patriotic spirit when I was in high school. That's why I applied to the U.S. Naval Academy. That's why I was selected. And then why I spent the next 4 years there, 20 years as a U.S. Marine, and then stayed involved at a nonprofit, independent institute focused on the long-term good of the United States of America. So my whole adult life has been one of doing what I can, looking at the long-term perspective of our country. What's good for us 15, 20, 25 years from now? What decisions do we need to make now in energy, economics, military and defense, national security, education, et cetera, so that our country remains the greatest country in the world for the next century. So my public record for the last 30 years is the evidence I need for choice of election.
Markwayne.
I can't hardly talk. Sit down, so you have to bear with me. It's 100% public good. I have 3 wonderful children, like I said, and I give my life, I give my health. I would give every penny we've been blessed to be able to make to keep my kids from carrying one day of any mistake that I've ever made. And if we don't get involved now, if people that have no interest in a career in politics, if we don't truly make a sacrifice and step away from our busy lives now, then what we're saying is it's okay for us to ignore it, but we're going to let our kids do it. I don't have a single employee that works with us that I would ever ask to do something I'm not willing to do myself. I'm tired of griping about it. I'm all in. And I'm all in because I have one interest in mind, and that's to serve this country, do all I can to get this country back on track, and I'm going to come back, and I have no ambition in anything farther than to serve in this seat, and then I'm done, and I'm coming back and raising my kids and teaching them a hard work ethic.
The reason I'm standing here, I kind of touched on it in my opening, is that I want to serve the people. That's what I do. I've been in the people business for almost 30 years. And in doing so, I'm required to serve. If I'm not serving at such a level, then I would be unsuccessful in everything I've done thus far, which I have not been. And the reason is because you put people first. And see, in all my life experience over 30 years, that's party neutral. Doesn't matter what party you're in. You always take care of the people and serve the people. And those experiences have actually groomed me and prepared me to continue to do what I've already been doing out here in the private sector. And I think that's where a great experience is when you're dealing with those that you live by, you work with, and you're just around, you fellowship with. Because this is where we talk about the problems. This is where we talk about the issues. And this, to me, is where you're honed in. This is what molds you to become and be the person that you should be. So I think my qualifications are very unique to do the very thing of serving people.
Why run for Congress? My wife reminds me, running for an office that no one really likes the people that are there, but it's about the good of the people. It's about good policy that represents folks. I clean carpets for a living, so customer service is number one. I remember a pastor of the day that came one time when we were in the Capitol, he said, George Faught is here because we trusted him to go do what we could not do. That's what we should be doing. We should be going to represent the folks that elected us, represent the folks that want good government, and that's why I'm there. It's not for me. It's for the betterment of our country, and if we don't have patriots, and you guys are patriots as well, who support folks who are willing to put their lives on hold to go and make good government and solve the problems that we face as a nation, and then come back and live underneath those same laws. That's the motivation that I have. It's not for me, it's for we people.
Well, I would say personal interest, and it's because of 3 names: Tony, Alex, and Drew. That's the name of my wife, that's the name of my 2 kids. And that's personal interest, folks. Because I want to see my kids grow up in a country that does not have a death-laden future that we are vastly approaching as we speak. When I first got elected in 2004, my pastor, Lutheran pastor, gave me a white towel. And on that white towel was an inscription. It was Mark chapter 10, verse 25. For the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve. And I set that towel in front of my desk, and for 10 years, every day when I walked in, I looked at that towel, and I thought, it's not about me. It's about doing what's right. It's about doing what the Lord has blessed us to do. And it's about, again, like I talked about a moment ago, fixing things and living under the laws that you pass. So obviously that's why I'm in here. Only 8% of our congressmen have a financial or economics background. Folks, that might be our problem. That's why I think we need to elect people that have that type of background and then have an actuarial type background like I do that can deal with the major issues that our country is facing. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm running for Congress because I have a burden for the direction that our country is going. And if you go home every night and you watch the evening news, you too should have a burden for the direction that we're headed. I've watched the evening news for the last 10 years and been so frustrated day in and day out to see what our federal government is doing. So I'm concerned about it. I have a burden for it. And secondly, I think I can be instrumental in effecting change in Washington. I think to send someone from eastern Oklahoma from Main Street, from a town of 3,000 people, I have some ideas and some values that I can make a difference in Washington. Washington is filled with people from the east and west coast who do not live like we do. My wife and I have been on the Dave Ramsey plan for 15 years. We need someone to go to Washington that's been on the Dave Ramsey plan. Do any of you know who Dave Ramsey is? I'm talking about the envelope system. It's old-fashioned, but it still works. It's worked in my life. It can work in Congress. So I have a burden, and I think I can make a difference. And that's exactly why I'm here tonight asking for your support. Thank you.
Our next question, and we'll start with Markwayne Mullin. Tom Hill of Character First writes that character is defined as the qualities built into an individual's life that determine his or her responses regardless of the circumstances. What are some words you would use to describe qualities of your character?
Christian, faithful to my wife, husband of 15 years, and I try each day to get up and be the best father that I can possibly be.
I would say honest, truthful, realistic, really facing and not being afraid to call something what it is and not what it's not. And I think that's a lot of our problems. We don't realistically look at things and how we're trying to deal with these problems. We're just, it's like we're throwing mud on water, hoping for something that's going to stick, that's going to solve our problems. And so, endurance, perseverance, these are the type of things that what I've done over the last 30 years, it's required that of me. Because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to accomplish and do what I do because of the blessing of God. So those are the things I think that, now I'm glad my wife's not here. She might have some adverse words, but it's not, they wouldn't be true. I'm glad she's not here. Thank you.
I know Tom Hill, and we've actually incorporated some of their character training in our homeschooling when our kids were little. But trusted, proven, conservative is not just a slogan when it comes to me. I've lived that in my life in business. I've lived that in my life as a legislator. I've lived that in my private life. And this election is too important for us to not send someone that is fully vetted. I mean, the Democrats are going to want to win this seat. They're going to want to retain it. Let's send someone who is trusted, proven, and conservative that we can all rest in confidence in. And that's what I'm all about. That's what I've lived my life for. Regardless of politics, that's what you ought to do.
First one that comes to mind is dependable, because I was voted most dependable in my senior class. And that's one of those things that you never get away from. I was class president, so now you have to plan every 10 year, 20 year, 25, and 30 year reunion. My wife says persistence. That's why she married me, probably. But I think the one that I would probably describe is intuitive. We have a policy in our company, ask the next question. We always say, once you complete the job, ask the next question. What could I have done better? What am I missing? What did I do wrong? What could I have thought through that I didn't think through? Why are we not thinking outside the box? When I was in the state legislature, that was what I always tried to apply. I asked the next question, whether or not you've done your best job that you can do, and then see if you can improve on the best job that you can do. If you do that, you're going to think outside the box. We have a guy in our U.S. Senate that thinks outside the box. His name's Thompson, and I'd like to thank you.
Well, there's two things, you know, when you run for Congress, you learn things about yourself that you really didn't know before you got to the race. So 12 months into this race, I think Nicole and I can tell you things about ourselves that we didn't know. But two things that I think I've always tried to abide by. Number one, I've never believed in quitting. And there have been times in my life where there were opportunities to quit. And my parents are here, and they can tell you I played in a golf tournament one time in high school, and I was not a golfer. And about halfway through, my brother came and said, "You should just quit." And I said, "No, I'm going to set the record." And I did. It was the highest record ever shot at the golf course. But I've never been a quitter. When my kids enroll in a sport, halfway through the season, we're going to finish. I'm not going to quit in this. I'm going to go to the last votes counted in here and in Congress. I won't quit. Secondly, I believe I've always tried to be a hard worker. I know all these guys have worked hard, but I have put in the hours, 18 hours a day. You deserve that. Whether you're running for Congress or mowing a yard, do it all that you can do and be a hard worker. At the end of the day, that's the only thing I can control is how hard I work. And I'll always try to be a hard worker.
In the Marines, we've got two sets of phrases. One is semper fidelis, always faithful. The other one is honor, courage, and commitment. That's what I've lived my life on. You have to behave honorably, whether it's a family man, father, husband, the business that you're involved in, and your treatment and relationships with others. Courage, moral courage, intellectual courage, physical courage. I've certainly been in environments all over the world where you've got to pick yourself up and decide to wade into rather uncertain situations, whether it's combat or even working with a foreign organization. And then commitment to doing the right thing, commitment to accomplishing the mission regardless of the obstacles, regardless of what you're up against. So honor, courage, and commitment, and always faithful in everything that we do. That's guided my life. Served me pretty well, and it continues to guide my life as we go on forward.
Still on the same topic of character, and Dwayne, you walked right into this one. What are some words that your wife would use to describe qualities of your character?
I don't believe that. I think you just add that question. Wow. You know, can I call her? I can put her on speakerphone. I don't burn time. I'm trying that for purpose. I think she used the same word, but I think she would use faithful, and I think she would use courage when others wouldn't stand, and that she's seen we stand some issues through time. That standing up against the unpopular, doing the unpopular, but it was the right thing to do. When others wanted to do something different, when others didn't believe that it should be done or could be done, I think she would use words to describe that type of courage, boldness, and she would say that I'm a good father, a good husband, even though I have my faults. And well, yeah, we've had a fight or two through time, through 31 years. But I think overall, though, she knows that she called me a godly man. And she would say, no matter how bad I mess up, that I always get back to God and get it right. And I get it right with Him first, and get it right with her second.
I guess if you just have Becky can stand up and say it, but she'll quiz me to see if I get it right. But I would think that probably the words that would come to her mind would be committed, being a servant, being a godly man, and being a loving husband and father. I mean, if you can accomplish those things in your life, then the Lord can use that life for something great. And I think that's probably what she would say. I'll find out afterwards if those are the qualities. But you know, behind every good man is a great woman, and my wife is just a rock in our family. So Dave, you do a great job, Noah.
Kind of stole my thunder there a little bit, as I'm missing that. But my wife always says about me that she is a rock in our family. Okay. And I always tell people that she's the diehard conservative of our family, even though my conservative record was very high. But she obviously would say persistent.